Hello there. This is Fernas, and we are here tonight to start a new chronicle, a chronicle called Sacrifice. That it is inside within the book Chicago by Night. All right. So the Chicago by Night book is essentially a chronicle book. It's essentially a city that that is essentially a book that explains the city, not only a bit of Chicago itself. It brings the story about Chicago, so a city that is quite recent, probably has less than 200 years old, something like that, and has a couple of 100 years old. It was acquired with money from the Native Americans. It was initially a fort, and then it became a small city, and then became a big city, and now it's one of the major cities in the world. It has uh, the second largest airport in the world is O'Hare. It has a lot of wealth, a lot of parks, and it's a very big city, right? And of course, it has a lot of art, entertainment, jazz clubs. Um, Chicago is always being known as a city of art, of music. Well, there is a movie about Chicago. It's called Chicago, that is essentially a musical. So I think you can have like the taste that it's quite of a diverse city, very with several things uh, to explore, right? And it also has a big university, one of the top 10 best universities in the world. It's the geekiest university as well in the world. So lots of things, lots of relevant places and locations in this city. For those who doesn't know Chicago, and I include myself in it, it is. I've been to New York a few times, so I kind of imagine with some New York style, especially in the more urban parts. So it should be similar, right, in some aspects. But yeah, it is a very interesting city to explore. In terms of World of Darkness, uh, they they have a small story that they talked about what happened in the city since the beginning, since when the land was acquired. Uh, but we're not gonna get into details of that. Essentially, the most relevant fact that happened was the War of Chicago. So there was a prince called Lodin. This prince, he was a Ventru, has many followers, and he was, of course, the leader of Camarilla. Chicago is a treasure city for the Camarilla, especially because of the wealth, because of the arts. You can see like Ventru, Toreadors, Malkavians really enjoying this city, right? And of course, where there is the Camarilla, there's also the Anarchs, and the Anarchs they were battling for Chicago, and there was a war. This war of Chicago was very violent, as the city is violent. The city is full of gangsters. I think everybody here probably already heard about Al Capone. Al Capone was from New York, but he studied in the University of Chicago, and the World of Darkness brought like his gang still works in Chicago. There's a tons of gangs in Chicago, so that's how they connected. But essentially, a lot of kindreds have the same background. They came from gangs. They came from the criminals because there's a lot of violence in Chicago, kind of a Gotham City. And when you look at this war of Chicago, it was essentially a war for power, but the anarchs were battling the Camarilla, and eventually the war was kind of over when the Anarchs set up a trap to use the Garou. And there's a lot of Garou in Chicago since there are parks. It's a land that it was from the Native Americans, quite recent. So the Garou attacked the Camarilla prince, Lodin. They killed the prince. They killed a lot of other kindreds as well, and some kindred managed to fight back, especially Prince Kevin Jackson, that became the prince because of that. He grabbed a broadsword from the wall and he attacked the Garou, and he started to be called Paladin after that, and that event led him to be the prince. Other mentions that are relevant is that some kindred that saw the brutality of the Guru actually changed sides. So there were some anarchs that became part of the Camarilla because what they saw that the Guru was doing, right? So that's and of course Prince Kevin Jackson brought peace. He named a sheriff because Damien, who is the sheriff, is like someone that did not. It wasn't from any side. He was neutral. He wasn't connected to a lot of kindred. Even in his mortal life, he was kind of a nobody. Uh, so he put him there because he would be impartial. And to avoid another war, one thing that everybody knows is that Prince Jackson, Kevin Jackson, is not a tyrant. He tries to have a more diplomatic way to lead and to rule, right? So he asked for the others' opinions. He took account a lot of the opinions of the Primogen and even less relevant kindred. He always listened to what others have to say, right? So this is like the introduction of the city of Chicago, and I talk a bit about myself. I have my Twitch here. I also played Brazilian Nights with Mirta in her YouTube. So I'm gonna let everybody who is here now introduce themselves. If you want to talk a bit about your character, feel free to do so. Don't go in very deep details now. Just speak in a more broad way because we're gonna get into that later. So feel free. Any order will do. If nobody volunteers, I will select someone. Who wants to go first?
So much pressure. I'll go first.
Yeah, you started,
I'm
so yeah, go there, man.
My name's Enoch Lamont. I've been role playing quite a bit here. This is my first game with these fine folks. I'm playing Bruno Telegra. He's a Lasombra, but he's not the usual kind of Lasombra. He's a getaway driver, and he spends most of his time at a low life kind of goth club, and he's just looking to get by and make a name for himself. Done.
Nice, nice. Next one.
All right, I'll go. Hi there. Name's Worsbowski. You can call me Worsbowski or Dave. I will be playing Henry Lorimer, the Ventru. He is a sleazy corporate lawyer. Does some work for the prince, and he's a bad dad and a lousy husband.
Nice, nice. Next one.
Succinct.
I'll
I
go.
guess I can go.
Oh, you can
Oh,
go.
oh, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, go ahead.
Uh, I'm Tiger. I play Cameron Locke. I am a pretty face that likes to fight. Um, he's a Bruja. Camarilla hardliner, true believer, and whatnot.
Hey everyone, Ryan. I'll be playing Solomon. He's a paranoid ex-U.S. military counterintelligence agent, um, and basically he's like focused on signals intelligence. Like he's going to be the guy that's like never use your cell phone for anything. But he's a Malkavian, and his thing is paranoia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Myrta. I'm gonna be playing Lucia Madame Price. I completely forgot my name, so don't worry if I messed it up. Um, I am a Nosferatu, and she was a fairly loose artiste of a party gal before she died. So, fuck you all. Nosferatus are actually very pretty, and there's a lot of artistic integrity in my shape. So, yeah.
I love that. I think everyone went, right? Also, there's a lot of room for exploring the characters because your paranoia, Solomon, Solomon's character, paranoia, it's the Second Inquisition, right? And Chicago
Yeah, exactly.
has the first light, right, which is a major Second Inquisition institution. So yeah, it's gonna be hell on you because of that. Let's talk about the coterie, right? I think one of the major things that the book says to happen is you all need to know each other. They don't give details what is to know each other, right? But I would say that probably means to have heard about it, to have seen each other. So it makes like the moment that you're actually going to form a coterie, it's not the first time that you heard about it or you see each other, things like that. You know who the other person are, at least in a more broad sense of way, like we did here, previously presenting each other, right? Everybody presented your character a bit. So try to think about what it will be like. Why does the other kindreds know your character, right? And why and how, what they are, what they know about you, right? Does you have a reputation with the kindred? And always gonna try to treat a kindred like a two-sided coin, right? One side is a mortal, one side is a kindred. So in the mortal side, you have your touchstone, you have your connections, your mortal reality. In the other side, you'll have the connections to the kindred society. So you're probably going to have a reputation in both of these two sides of your coin. So with the kindred, in the case, that's how everybody knows you, right? Um, what happened? I'm going to give you an example that is in a group, in a Brazilian group that I played, that is going to go into the YouTube. There is a thin blood in the group, and she was embraced, and of course the sire did not ask for permission, did not requested the act of embrace, and it's kind of like bloodlines, right? This her sire was killed, and she was sent to the Elysian to be executed. But just like the coteries of New York, someone raised their hand and adopt her, right? So everybody kind of know hers for, oh, she's the thin blood that was adopted, right? Because she would get killed. So everybody knows her face, her name, and the reputation that okay, her throat is in the line here, right? Um, so that's an example, right? So try to think about something that would connect you, that would generate some reputation to the Qatar as a whole. I will let you speak now.
Well, I think everybody would probably know Henry. Um, he doesn't make a secret of his connections to the prince. He's quite proud of himself, generally swanning around Elysium, being the good old Ventru Camarilla Golden Boy that you would expect. Um, so I think that's kind of how he kind of spreads his reputation around. Um, he's very. I mean, there's a level of arrogance there. So you may have preconceived opinions of him as maybe kind of a stuck-up asshole type. Um, and I think that I talked with Murta about having a pre-existing, having encountered her in the past as well.
Yeah, that was something that I would like us all to like set up, just like little scenes, like how we know each other. So with Henry, well, my character is very colorful. She's very boastful. She's proud of her appearance, and as a Nosferatu, that's not necessarily a good thing, um, considering that I am a walking masquerade violation. Majority of the Camarilla would want me around because I'm a fairly good assassin, but that doesn't mean that accidents do not happen. So, Henry, the stuck-up asshole over here, has cleaned up after me a couple of times, and I owe them a couple of minor boons. So if they, need an assassination called in, I'm definitely available. I also think that our getaway driver, Bruno, everyone would know Bruno because he should be the camera-less driver, the driver to go to, which means that all of us at some point should have at least worked with Bruno one way or another.
And I'm certain I've helped you make some bodies disappear as well with ashes to ashes.
That's always a good skill to have. Very marketable life skill.
I stab, you ashify.
I'm certain there's been nights where I've driven you around like the movie Collateral.
And there will be driving in this chronicle, so your talents are useful.
I read the character profiles, and Tiger is the Camarilla Enforcer, is that correct?
Traditions, I guess, enforcer.
Oh,
Um,
wouldn't it make sense for you to be working with Henry at that point?
yeah,
Very
maybe.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he covers my ass if I, um, you know, do something illegal and whatnot.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not much of a fighter, so I see Henry's role as more of a negotiator and a kind of deal maker. But if like fisticuffs happens, I'm fucked basically. So having I think you're a Bruja, right?
Hmm.
Ah, nice. Okay, well, having one of those on side for masquerade cover ups and such like would be very useful.
I wouldn't expect a venture to be a friend of a Bruja, but in this case, it seems,
It's a business relationship.
yeah, it makes sense.
Friends of necessity.
He's gonna be friends with the Lasombra. He's gonna be friends with the Bruja.
Exactly.
Let's face it, nobody really likes the Ventru, so
Not with that
Okay,
haircut.
Solomon, go. Your time to paint yourself into the party.
Yeah, for me, I think maybe like someone very specific in like the that knows like the lieutenant maybe knows me for my counter intel work. Maybe I've done as part of another coterie and like put me in touch with one of you. That was kind of my thought, but as to which person, I'm not sure. I'm fine with anyone.
Well, I'm a sect lore vet. I haven't got that lore sheet, so maybe I've worked with you in the
Who's
past,
okay? Yeah.
trying to keep the anarchs out of Chicago, stamp out any Sabbat rumors and whatnot.
Okay, sounds good. And who is
And
like putting together the coterie? Like who are we getting our summons from, or is that not revealed yet?
Oh, that will happen in the Chronicle.
Oh,
You can also probably try to sell aluminum foil hats for everybody, right? Since you're kind of the
I think maybe people know me because yeah, like I might have a few tech items that people can benefit from, that people are interested in because of First Light, that I provide. That could be something.
of course. So try to
Y-
think
y-
about something like that, and maybe you can have a gadget in the first session, right?
Well, I was thinking the radios from the last
Mm.
session, from the previous campaign that we did, like the
Sure,
military encrypted one.
sure, sure.
Well, tech marginally touches on Nosferatu, so it would make sense that we
Yeah,
know each other if you have tech.
you would be interested, exactly. You would be interested. Your
Yeah.
character would. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you can have like a walkie-talk, like radio, and have a
Mm,
encrypted frequency, and maybe you can like share with someone, like have
mm.
two devices, right? That
Um,
Cool.
here,
this
Sounds
could be
good.
funny.
here's a question. Ryan, does your character by any chance have some smartphones that wouldn't be quite camera approved? Because my character would definitely like to get on Instagram.
I forbid it.
That I'm not
No,
sure about.
we're
That we
not
may
doing
have to
that. We're not
resolve
doing
in
that. No,
game.
no, no, no. Don't give her a phone. No,
But
are,
there's
are
an account I really want to follow.
nope,
It's
nope,
my touchstone.
nope, 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 nope. Stalk them
Are,
My
normally. Like
guy,
stalk them
my
like a
guy would
normal
never
vampire.
sell you. My guy would never sell anyone a phone. He's like, phones are. This is it. That's his tinfoil hat. He's like, phones. If you have a phone, you're already fucked. Like that's it. So no, he
I mean,
wouldn't sell a
You
phone to
he's
go
anyone.
and
he's
find the
not
secret
wrong.
phone.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're trying to stay hidden, the character is not wrong.
so are we going to be like The Wire, where we're using pagers and payphones?
You,
I
you
am. That's exactly what my character is going to try and make everyone do. Like,
you don't need
are
to
there
be like
payphones
the
still
hangover
in
characters,
Chicago?
right? There are actually in the Chronicle a way, not only in the Chronicle, but in many Chronicles in Vampire, what they call
it's in Baltimore.
burner phones. Burner phones are phones that you used once and then you throw away in the trash. They don't work anymore. So you can use that for to call someone that is connected to the Camarilla or to get a call from them. But if it's used to call or to receive a call and you actually answers, then the phone is dead forever, right? So in the Chronicle, just in the beginning, I think that it's not a spoiler, but you're gonna receive a few burner phones to use. Um, well, I would like to. Is there anything else that we're missing here? For group, do you have any questions on the chronicle or on the characters or anything? Other than
I do
that,
have
I'm gonna
one question.
go deep down into each character. Go ahead.
My one question is, why are there 6 pictures on screen but only 5 players present?
I think we're missing someone.
Is that
Actually, I just
correct?
read his thing up there. He's running late because of real life thing.
Oh no, real life. Hate when that
That's
gets in the way.
Real life sucks.
that's what acid is for.
uh, yeah. Someone told that it was gonna run late. Yeah. Trying to remind who? Who is the person that is running late? Because Henry is here.
Is
Santino.
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 Yeah, the guy that I thought was Santiago. Yeah. I was thinking he went full Chilean, but no. Um, go ahead. No. Okay. Um, so let's start with each character. Uh, let's go with Mirta. Mirta, you have your character, Madame, all right? You have your, I think, the
Anything like that.
attributes, the skills. I think everything we already given it okay before. I'm gonna spend more time here in a touchstone and convictions. So one thing that I actually set for this game is that despite it's a homebrew thing, right? It's a Chronicle Tenet. Despite the book clearly says that for each conviction you should have a touchstone. We already have more players than the Chronicle asks. The Chronicle says 3 to 5. We're gonna have 6 players, and also we have well, everybody has some kind of mortal connections, and there's a lot of SPCs in the Chronicle that we want to explore. And if you start having like a lot of touchstones, a lot of mortals connected to each one of you, it's gonna be hell to go into a deep dive into them. So I think the best option is always to like grab one touchstone and do it well, right? And I also gave to each one of you a kindred connection because that's how I say it, like the coin, right? So one side mortal, you have the touchstone, the other side kindred, you have a connection. Someone that you talk to, you know of, or they know you, or you respect because you know what they did, things like that. You know that they are relevant. And of course, if you have a Mola and things like that, you also have another connection, kindred, and things like that. Well, Mirta, you have in your character sheet this conviction that never hide appearance out of shame, which of course will probably lead you to masquerade breaches. And you have a touchstone, which is a photographer named Jerry Palmer. Um, he doesn't know about you, right? He's just a guy that he reminds you of the old photographers that used to take picture of your character. Is that correct?
Yeah, he can't know about me. That's the thing with Nosferatus and touchstones. Like, bleh.
Yeah. Uh, you you do have obfuscate 3, right? Do you have the mask, uh, the one that you can actually change your appearance? You don't, right? You have 2 level 1s and 1 level 2. You don't have the level 3. Okay.
I do have Mask of a Thousand Faces. It's on the other obfuscate. There's two
Oh.
obfuscates because you can only do like a specific amount of abilities per one.
Mm.
So I can blend into the background and talk with him as if I'm somebody else, like as if I'm not just a janitor there or a random person in the crowd, but he wouldn't recall me. I mean, he would obviously recall a conversation, but it's a genuine, like, average looking human person. It wouldn't stick in his mind.
I see. But but that's a way that you can actually talk to him, right? So okay,
Yeah.
and you can mingle between a certain crowd. Okay, that will definitely help in the game, right? That will happily help, except especially because of the first scene. If you didn't have that power in the first scene, there would be already trouble, right? But since you have this power, it makes me more.
You could just
Calm.
say that I am in like his gallery exhibition and I'm trying to mingle with him as if I'm just a regular fan observing the thing, you know.
No, no problem, no problem. So
A
the way,
3D HR gear model.
yeah, yeah, it's a VTuber in real life. The way that I'm gonna go for this chronicle, right? Because the book goes like straight up to the chronicle, right? Straight up to the first scene where when everything starts happening. I'm not gonna go straight up to that. I'm gonna first go individually to each character, explore a bit the touchstone, your connections to the kindred that I gave it to you, and after that, I'm gonna move it to the group moment where the chronicle actually starts, right? So I think that will be more entertaining for ourselves and of course for whoever sees it, follows in the Twitch or Mirta's YouTube. It will give more color on each character. It would be better to role play, right? Okay, that's it from your character. Who wanna go next? Nobody?
I'll go next.
You go next. So let's go,
Yep.
Enoch. Well, your character it's quite interesting because you have this touchstone that it's your brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's a DJ at the Warn Zone, and does he perform in different places or just one place?
He's a house DJ.
So he cannot change, right?
There probably was a time in his younger days he was probably hopping around, but now it's just like too much of a headache with all the vinyl because he's still vinyl,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much better. And he's so ensconced in it now. He's practically a part owner of the war zone now because he's been there for so long. It's just easier, and it's such a thriving club.
Okay. And you have a sire, right? That she works in this club or she owns the club. How does it work?
She's a regular, and because there's um, so much of the criminal element filters through the club, she likes to be there because being a La Sombra, she can kind of like weave her tendrils and get her fingers into a lot of pies. And somehow she found me. I was already a getaway driver by that time, just starting out, but already showing my chops. And I must have struck her fancy.
Okay. She does know you have a mortal brother, right?
Yes.
Okay. So a few things, right? One thing. La Sombra clan. You're technically the clan is in the Sabah, right?
Hmm.
So that doesn't mean that every single individual from the clan is cannot be in the Camarilla or in the Anarchs or things like that. You can, right? That's how it goes. Anyone can be in any sect, but essentially, uh, the La Sombra, it's not in the Camarilla in Chicago, right? And in V5 lore, everybody kind of knows who knows the V5 lore. La Sombra joins the Camarilla and things like that. But Chicago, in this moment of the Chronicle, it's not. La Sombra is not in the Camarilla. So La Sombra is viewed as Seba and is viewed as an enemy, right? And those who are in Chicago are kindred that decided to betray the Sabbath, to turn away from the Sabbath, right? So your sire, and there is another La Sombra as well in the city, the one that I presented to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They both betray the Sabbat. They are away from the Sabbat, right? But they, as La Sombra, they have the same, especially your sire, has the convictions of a regular La Sombra, right? They want to win, they want to have power, they don't accept second place as an option, uh, which means that it's in a very extreme view, and this extreme view could, you know, disturb your relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with your brother. So I think that's one point to explore in the chronicle with you. And of course you're a driver for both criminals in a mortal world as well as for the kindreds. So you're probably gonna drive a lot in this chronicle.
Oh, you've you've seen the picture of her. She's amazingly hot. So of course I'm going to go wherever she tells me. And I recognize that she has that, like most of the Sombra have, that aura of power around them, which is different than the way Vondru have it around them. Theirs is more. There's an allure to it,
Mm.
especially for someone like Bruno, who's a risk taker. Like he saw her, and he's like, "That is danger. I want to know that danger." And the fact that she can get him gigs with practically anyone just makes it easier for him to become more self-sufficient, which is what he wants to do in the eyes of his brother.
Yeah, that's that's great. Yeah, you want to impress your brother, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's important. Uh, Mirta, just one small thing about your powers. Now I realize that you have one extra power here. You are. That's why it's bugged here in the lateral. If you have three of obfuscate, it means you have three powers. So one from level one, and then the other one can be from level one or level two, and then the other one can be from level one, two, or three, right?
Ah, okay.
So and then you
I'll
have,
delete a few.
yeah, you need to delete one, right? Or
In that case,
probably,
I don't have Mask of Thousand Faces. Good luck.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that. You can delete Silence of Death as well. No problem. It makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one here. That's it. Um, and then we go to the next character. Who wanna go next?
You can do me, Cameron.
Okay. So Cameron, you're a bruja, an alley cat. Of course, being an alley cat is always a dangerous sort of masquerade. I don't think you did. You expend? Did you spend your XP? Yeah, you did. You bought the presents tree, right?
You, yep,
Yeah, so
15.
you did. Um, you have orders are not the conviction. Orders are not important. That can say oaths.
It,
On the
I
other
just
hand,
thought it was
are.
a cool sounding quote. It's keep your sworn word.
That's that's nice. Uh, it's kind of like values above orders, right? Above hierarchy, right?
Hmm.
And Mike King is a fight promoter who is trusted by the local fight scene because he's upfront nature and has always keep his deals, right? So, did he promote your fights in the past?
Yeah, I've worked for them before, um, and that's why I learned, keeping your word, the value of keeping your word. Because once your word's tarnished, your reputation's tarnished, then that's very hard to to clean up. And also, that's where I learned, how sometimes it's better to talk rather than fight.
Interesting. You probably will find it a bit weird that you didn't age at all, right? In this last 20 years, right?
It's because I don't stay in the sun, and I take good care of my body, and I don't fight anymore. I have a pretty face.
I don't know how to say in English, but there is that substance that they use in corpse in the morgue to preserve it.
Embalming fluid.
Embalmment fluid. Yeah, you sleep on that, right? So
I have a lot of what is it? Is it collagen? What's the stuff? Botox in my face to keep from aging.
does Botox does that? I have that because of my teeth, but not to avoid aging. It's just to avoid pain.
I
I
think some
hope it
people
does
do that.
help. I hope it makes my face younger if possible.
Your face looks wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Let's go. So okay, so the idea here will be Mike will be impressed with how young you are, and will try to bring you back to the ring, right? And he's gonna make a lot of money if you bring back you again. You seem more experienced, but still young and strong. And this could get you both into trouble, right? So
Hmm.
that's something that I want to work on it. So that's kind of the connection that I'll probably start building. And of course, as your character being part of the War of Chicago in the past, like you're a Bruja, you saw the war, you have a Mola, and part of the Brujas went for the Camarilla, parts went for the Anarchs. A lot of kindreds are like from the Anarchs are very well known. The prince doesn't want another war, so it it's kind of a touchy subject to when you're gonna deal with an anarch, like what you're gonna do about it, because if he's actively trying to damage the Camarilla, how you're gonna proceed? Because if it's an anarch that is also actually respected and relevant, uh, it could lead to another war, right? So you always have that in mind because you've been to the war, and despite you want to keep traditions, everybody who's been to the war doesn't want another one. Okay?
Yeah, yeah. It's more like a balancing approach. Um, I won't outright, smash their face in, but I may, do something else to impede their plans or just to spite them, like swipe their keys or delete their computer or, drop water onto their iPhone, things like that, or to their phones or whatever.
And of course, you were a Bruja, so if someone pisses you off, it's gonna be hard to not kick somebody's ass, right?
Yep, that's the
Uh,
fun part.
so three characters done, three to go. Um, two to go actually because we don't have someone here. So two to go. Wanna go, Ryan? No, Ryan. I'm gonna leave Ryan for the last. Let's go, Henry. Um,
All
so
right.
Henry, I think your character is probably the easiest to talk to. You let's see your powers. Dominate. You're gonna need that. Um, Fortitude and presence. Okay. you have your a wife and daughter, and you have. Um, I don't see any convictions here. And,
Let me see. What am I? Yeah, I got them here.
okay,
Um, just on the top right there.
it's, oh, maybe it's true. Just
Hmm.
no. So just
So
tell
what
me.
I
Just tell me. Yeah.
yeah, what I have two probably contradictory convictions, which is always a lot of fun. Keeping my family safe is my duty, and the security and safety of the domain is paramount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one
So
kindred and one human, right?
basically, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Usually only gonna use one touchstone. Since you kind of have a family, so there's a daughter, so I may insert your daughter into
Hmm.
parts of the chronicle. I'll try to avoid that. Your wife is gonna be the key touchstone of you.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, she may appear here and there, right? In terms of adventures, you have a herd. So you are a cleaver, right? And you have a herd. Does
Yeah.
that means that you feed from who?
So he doesn't want to feed from his wife because it just seems a little weird and immoral. But he doesn't really care too much for his in-laws. So they're usually the ones. Henry doesn't really have, he doesn't have siblings. His parents aren't around, but Vanessa, his wife, has two brothers, a mother and father who are all fit his particular taste.
So
Um,
you're kind of the the one husband that loves to go into her family to dinner, right?
oh yeah, yeah, I love it when the in-laws come for dinner.
That's very rare to happen, but
I'm very helpful. I'll always pop round to her brother's place to help him with his taxes, etc., etc. Um, and yeah, and as I'm specialize in memory manipulation, I
hmm
tend to use that to kind of smooth over any like snafus that I have, any mistakes I make while feeding. And as far as any of them know, everything is normal about me. Um, I've fiddled with every one of their brains at some point. They think they see me during the day. The
hmm
wife and daughter think I still live in the house. I don't. I have my own apartment. Um, and yeah, he's just kind of a manipulative prick, basically.
Yeah, you have like a double life, but you trick people to gaslight them to actually think
Yes,
that you only have
I have
one.
a
Yeah,
specialty in that actually.
yeah, great, great. Okay, so let's go to Riot. People, they are sending several messages. Let me read them. It's just okay. It's a blurry pic. Or is the cat dancing? Yeah. Okay. Let's go back. Um, so let's go, Ryan.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, your
Yeah, so
character. Go ahead.
I need to update the character page because I imported it in, but I didn't kind of. But I basically thinking similar to my previous character, but obviously, which was like a Civil War based ex-military counterintelligence, but yeah, moving it into kind of like the modern age. Um, yeah, kind of I think 13th generation. So he just got out. I think also I'm debating who my touchstone should be because I was thinking more of a loner, but maybe he could have like a daughter or something like that. So I need to think about that a little bit more. But yeah, pretty similar to the previous character that
Yeah,
I did.
in the character here, I think from the previous chronicle, it
Mm,
was written wife of a prominent politician.
mm,
Uh, well, you can go with that if you want, or
okay,
you can think about something else, right?
okay.
But the thing is, yeah, sure, pick up the convictions like no drug or alcohol, someone who guards
Mm,
symbols, protects the thing you value, and oh, okay, that's not a conviction, that's the touchstone, right? Someone who protects you, right? So, and no drugs or alcohol, okay, it's a conviction. And the paranoia is your bane. Then you have to pick, of course, the merits and flaws. And
mm,
I think there's still some things here. For example, your predator. It's not the speciality of a predator is not here. You also didn't include
Sandman.
an extra,
Same. That I'm gonna be Sandman for that.
the extra specialization that you can put in any skill that you have dots on.
Mm,
The powers, you need to choose your powers, and of course only use 15 XP, right?
right,
Um,
right.
so I think that's basically it. Then we talk into the first session
Oh,
again to check your character sheet.
sounds good.
Um, so yeah, does anyone has anything to say? Like any comments on it?
I do.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask, could I by any chance have VR headset and be VR chat catfishing my own touchstone?
Yeah.
Cool. That way I'm a 2D Miku. I am in no way a Nosferatu. We can establish a great relationship there.
Oh, you're gonna owe me so many boons before this is over. I'm gonna get even more.
Are you planning on calling them in at some point or just hoarding them?
Remember,
Like that's like I've already got 2 assassinations, so we'll see how many more assassinations I can get out of you.
uh, remember that like in V3, in V20, of course, it was kind of what we usually call today like old tech was essentially the regular tech back then, and vampires use it normally, right? They use it like Facebook. They could use like more basic social media, or they could use a Nokia cell phone, right, with the little snake game.
Yeah, but then that
You
whole
could
thing
use that,
happened.
right? But then happened the Second Inquisition, and the way that the first line, especially the Second Inquisition in a whole, finds the kindred, what they call the blank bodies, right? The bodies that doesn't have any heat. It's essentially because of the touch screens, of the facial recognitions, because now everything has it, right? You open a laptop and there is facial recognition, there is facial recognition in a cell phone, everything has it, and you're under surveillance all the time. Of course, if you can put hands on some old tech and somehow make it work, you would be kind of free of that, but still you could be in danger, right? Probably better than use a new notebook or a new cell phone to call an Uber. That would be bad, right? If you try to call an Uber, you're probably gonna be killed at the first light.
I don't mind it if it puts an extra spotlight on me, but like me having a VR headset would allow me to actually interact with my touchstone.
Yeah, a VR headset. Oh, I thought it was just a regular headset. No,
No,
it's
a
a
VR
VR
headset.
headset. Oh,
If you're just walking around wearing one, like as an everyday item of clothing.
No, like at your house. Imagine you're like wearing Oculus Rift and you arrange a meeting and VR chat with your touchstone.
that's kind of different. Let me think. Does the VR headset has any kind of recognition of this what I mentioned? I think no, right? It doesn't facial recognition. I don't think so, right?
Why don't you just get one of those special mirrors and just speak behind it all mysteriously like Phantom of the Opera?
Scary around the full-sized mirror.
And
Hello.
the guy will probably crap his pants, right? Uh, yeah, VR. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. You have like a conversation with him. Like you can be like a nickname on Discord, right? Or something like that. But
Yeah, I
actually,
could be like Monkey Paw, and he could be like
yeah,
Osiris or something.
yeah. You could, and inside the VR, you could be like a Lego character, right?
Like a 2D Miku.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty anime girl. What do you mean I'm a Nosferatu?
You could be a VTuber. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. I think being a Nosferatu. Do you have tech points on your skills? Yeah, you do. You have three dots in technology. Yeah, you can work around that. Sure. Just yeah, I think that's reasonable for
It's settled then.
context.
I can VR chat my touchstone.
Yeah, you probably role play with him. You play D&D with him in a VR chat room, something like that. Because you don't want to breach the masquerade. Imagine if you can't play vampire.
Oh god, a vampire's playing Vampire the Masquerade, not
Yeah,
giving out that they're a vampire.
yeah, that would definitely breach the masquerade, right?
Being that guy in the group going, that's not how it works.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're probably playing the Castle of Strahd or something like that, and you say, "No, vampires doesn't work like that." Okay. So any other questions?
I just wanted to double check that my lore sheet is okay.
Lore sheet. You have a Kevin Jackson lore sheet.
Yeah. So basically, I run a law firm for him.
I think that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah. There is one thing that I wanted to explain to you guys. I'm gonna use yeah, Enox. Frequent roles. Someone asked me that. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna explain in a session zero. So you want to add a frequent role to able to roll the hunger dice, right? So if you want to roll a rouse check, just click here, right? Just click in the hunger. So it's a 9, so it's success. You don't have, you do not increase your hunger, right? But if I want to do like any kind of rolls, right? I want to have, I want to drive, right? So he's going to drive. So let's say it's a wits with drive, right? So that's a skill. He's gonna have 6 dices. He has a specialization? Yes, he does. High speed chase. So imagine he's on a chase trying to run from the cops. So you click here and you put like a modifier, which is your specialization, right? So you have 7 dices, and then you just click here, right? So you have this. Then he already already make like okay, 1 hunger dice because 1 hunger, and the other dice is here as regular, right? So you say, oh, but I want to go, and I didn't like this roll. I want to use willpower, right? So I'm going to spend a willpower. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to roll 3 dice. So I'm going to re-roll my 1, my 3, and my 5. So I'm going to click here, 1, click here. So I'm going to choose my 1, my 3, and my 5, right? And I'm going to go continuar. And then he's going to re-roll. Again, just one of those 3 dices became a success. The other 2, it didn't. I want to do it again. So I want to spend another willpower. Can I do that? No, I can't. But that's okay. Then you can just roll on Discord. The other 3 dice, the other 2 dice, right? So you go here in Discord and you go to D10 and you roll it, and there, and here we go, right? So I got the camera, one of the cameras here, into the Discord on the roll. So you're gonna show for everyone that you roll a 10 here, so you get another extra success. But basically, that's how you roll in Let's Roll, right? And you can even use willpower once. So just add some rolls here that it's kind of common to do, like dexterity with athletics, uh, strength plus brawl, which is the kind of a roll that probably gonna happen in a game, right? And if you have like a discipline that usually requires a roll, like Oblivion requires, no, I have to look at it, but Imagine requires like intelligence or something else. Like you already make it, right? Here prepared. You can add like discipline powers as well. For example, I want to use Oblivion with like intelligence, right? So it already has that, so you can let your roles pre-prepared. So when you go here and then you just click it, right? It makes our life easier at the moment during the game, and already have the hunger dices, right? So if you have like more hunger, and you do here, it's gonna show like 200 now instead of 1, right? So that's very useful. Does anyone has any equipments? Yeah, you can choose equipments as it fits to your character. Don't exaggerate, right? Don't have an helicopter if you don't have enough resources, right? Actually, don't have an helicopter. But the point is, don't exaggerate. But if you want to have like a knife or some extra clothing or a notebook or something like that, I don't care, right? Or even a gun. You're in the United States. A gun is not that hard to buy. That's it.